a young bride, never knowing what she'd lose. Years went by and sorrow found her, leaving her with roads to choose. Naomi turned toward Bethlehem with an empty heart to bear. Ruth could stay with all she'd known, but she chose to follow there. Where you go, I will go, down the road I cannot see, through the fields and through tomorrow, I'll keep walking faithfully. I don't know what waits before me, I don't need to know it all. Sometimes faith is simply staying when you could have walked away. Two women came to Bethlehem with little in their hands. No wealth, no home, no certainty, just strangers in the land. Ruth went out among the barley, gathering what others left. Day by day, behind the reapers, she worked with quiet faithfulness. And in a field she never planned for, someone noticed who she was. Boaz heard about her kindness and welcomed her with love. Where you go, I will go, down the road I cannot see, through the fields and through tomorrow, I'll keep walking faithfully. I don't know what waits before me, I don't need to know it all. Sometimes faith is simply staying when you could have walked away. He gave her shelter and a harvest, made a place where she could stay. He told his workers to protect her and leave a little in her way. Naomi saw a door was opening where they'd only known the night. The field that looked like simple kindness was slowly turning toward new life. She couldn't see the generations waiting somewhere down the line. She only knew the step before her and chose it one day at a time. From an empty road in Moab to the barley fields of home, grace was writing something greater than Ruth could ever know. Boaz took her as his wife, and joy returned where grief had been. Soon a child was in her arms, and Naomi smiled again. They called the little boy Obed, and years beyond that quiet day, his family line would lead to David. A king was coming from her faith. and grace led all the way. Before he ever knew his name, his mother prayed through years of tears. Hannah carried one small hope through all the waiting, all the years. Then one day her arms were filled with the child she'd prayed to see. And when the time had come, she brought him to the house where he would be. Samuel grew beside old Eli, learning quietly day by day. Then one night he heard a voice calling softly. He ran to Eli, thinking that the old man called his name. But after hearing it again, they knew from where the calling came. Here I am, I'm listening in the quiet of the night. Here I am, I'm listening. Teach my heart to know your voice. When you call me, I will listen, even when I don't yet understand. Here I am listening. Lead me where you will. The little boy became a prophet, and all Israel knew his name. Through troubled years he spoke with courage, calling hearts to turn again. He judged the people with compassion, prayed for them through fear and war. And when they asked to have a king, he carried every word before the Lord. Then Saul stood tall before the people, chosen first to wear the crown. Samuel poured the oil upon him and watched a kingdom gather round. But power changed the road before them. Saul would choose his will instead. Samuel grieved for what was broken, for the path the king had left. Sometimes calling means rejoicing. Sometimes calling carries tears. Sometimes serving means releasing what you've carried through the years. Still he listened, still he followed when the answer wasn't clear. The voice he'd heard when he was little was the voice that led him here. Then God sent him toward Bethlehem, to a house he'd never known. One by one the sons stood before him, but none was chosen for the throne. Then someone called the youngest brother, a shepherd coming from the field. future had been sealed. He poured the oil upon young David, while his brothers gathered around. The prophet who had crowned the first king now prepared another crown. Here I am, I'm listening, through the laughter, through the tears. Here I am, I'm listening to the voice I've known for years. When you call me, I will follow, even when I cannot see the end. Here I am, still listening until my journey ends. A mother's prayer, a child at night, a prophet listening for the light. From his first call through all his years, he listened, and God led him.
He was the youngest in the family, watching sheep beneath the sky. No crown, no army, no one noticed, just a boy with watchful eyes. Then Samuel came to Jesse's house and passed the older brothers by. The shepherd came in from the fields, and oil was poured beneath the light. Not long after came the giant, standing tall above the crowd. Soldiers trembled in their armor while the shepherd spoke out loud. No heavy sword, no polished shield, just a sling and steady hands. One small stone flew through the morning, and the giant hit the land. A heart that comes back again and again, through victory and failure, through glory and sin. He ran, he fell, he lost his way, but every broken road could lead him back to grace. A heart that comes back when pride is gone, still looking for the God he had trusted all along. Saul grew jealous of the music, of the praise around David's name. So the shepherd became a fugitive, running through the dark again. He hid in caves and lonely places, with the crown still far away. And when he had the chance for vengeance, he chose to turn his hand away. Then the years of waiting ended, David finally wore the crown. Jerusalem became his city, and his kingdom gathered round. He danced before the ark with gladness, he sang of mercy, fear and praise. The shepherd boy who once was hidden now was leading all the land. But kings can fall like common people, and power can darken what we see. One desire became deception, and deception turned to grief. He took what never had been given and tried to cover what he'd done, until the truth stood there before him and nowhere left for him to run. No crown could hide it, no throne could heal it, no song could make the wrong disappear. So he stopped defending, stopped pretending, and let repentance draw him near. A broken spirit, a humbled heart, was where the road began again. The years that followed carried sorrow, trouble moving through his home, a father grieving, kingdom shaking. Even when he sat the throne, he knew the cost of what was broken. He knew that glory does not last, but through the joy and through the failure, he kept returning from the past. A heart that comes back again and again, through victory and failure, through glory and sin. He ran, he fell, he lost his way, but every broken road could lead him back to grace. A heart that comes back when pride is gone, still reaching for the God he had trusted all along. A shepherd, a warrior, a king with scars, a sinner, a singer beneath the stars. Not perfect, not fearless, not always strong, but a heart that came back to God all along.
He was the son of David, born beneath a royal name. The kingdom waited for him, but he did not ask for fame. When he could choose his treasure, he asked for wisdom instead. A heart to judge with justice and lead the people well. Soon the stories traveled of wisdom on the throne. People crossed the nations to hear what he had known. He answered difficult questions. He listened and understood, and Israel grew in peace while the land beneath him stood. He had the wisdom, he had the gold, more than a lifetime could ever hold. He knew the answers, he knew the way, but knowing what is right doesn't make the heart obey. All of the wisdom, all of the fame could never keep a heart that slowly turned away. Wisdom wasn't enough. Wisdom wasn't enough. He built a house for worship with cedar, stone, and gold. A temple rose in Jerusalem, more beautiful than words could hold. And when the work was finished, he bowed before the Lord. The king who had everything still knew whom he adored. Then came the years of plenty, silver shining everywhere. his mind, but somewhere in the abundance his heart began to divide. He loved what pulled him farther from the God he'd known before. Foreign gods and foreign altars slowly opened every door. The man who spoke with wisdom could see and still be blind. He knew so much about the truth, but let his heart fall behind. You can know and still wonder. You can see and still lose sight. You can speak 1,000 answers and still choose what isn't right. A brilliant mind cannot protect a heart that will not stay. The wisest man can lose himself when love is led astray. He had the wisdom, he had the gold, more than a lifetime could ever hold. He built the temple, he wore the crown, but everything he gathered could not keep his heart from falling down. All of the wisdom, all of the fame could never take the place of walking close to God each day. Wisdom wasn't enough. Wisdom wasn't enough. A throne, a temple, 1,000 songs, a life that knew both right and wrong. He asked for wisdom, and wisdom came. But the heart still had to choose each day.
The land had waited for the rain. The fields were dry beneath the sun. Ahab wore the crown of Israel, while hearts forgot the Holy One. Elijah came without an army, with only words he had to say. The heavens closed above the nation, and the rain was held away. He hid beside a quiet brook, where ravens brought him daily bread. Then when the water disappeared, God sent him somewhere else instead. A widow had a little flour, a little oil almost gone. But through the days of empty cupboards, there was always just enough. And when her child stopped breathing, Elijah carried him above. He cried to God with all his heart, and life returned to the one she loved. Through the drought, through the waiting, through the days he stood alone. Through the questions, through the silence, still he followed where God led. He had seen the heavens open, he had watched the fire fall, but the voice that found him broken was the quietest of all.
Then came the day on Carmel, 2 altars underneath the sky. The prophets called for morning, but no answer came in sight. Elijah built the broken altar, and water covered every stone, and fire fell before the people, and they knew who God alone was. Soon a cloud rose from the distance, small against the open blue. Then the sky grew dark with mercy, and the long-awaited rain came through. But after fire came fear, a threat was all it took. The man who stood before a nation ran as far as he could go. Beneath the lonely desert tree, he had nothing more to give. Yesterday he'd stood in triumph, today he barely wished to live. But heaven did not shame his weakness, an angel met him where he lay, with water, bread, and time to rest before he walked another day. Then came the wind, but God was not there. Then the earth shook, but God was not there. Then came the fire, but still he waited. And after all the noise, a whisper, soft enough for a tired heart to hear. Elijah covered up his face and stepped outside the cave. The God who answered him with fire now met him in a quieter way. There was still a road before him, still a purpose, still a call. He wasn't quite as alone as he had believed it all. And later by a field he found Elisha working with the land. He placed his mantle on another, and the story changed its hands. Through the drought, through the waiting, through the days he stood alone. Through the trying, through the breaking, God had never let him go. He had seen the heavens open, he had watched the fire fall. But the voice that found him broken was the quietest of all. Not in the wind, not in the shaking, not in the fire that filled the sky. After the thunder, after the running, came a whisper, and he knew he wasn't alone.
In the year a king had fallen, Isaiah saw a higher throne, the temple filled with holy glory, and suddenly he stood alone. He heard the voices all around him, calling holy through the air. The very doors began to tremble, and smoke was rising everywhere. Then Isaiah saw himself before the one who sees it all. No title left, no pride to carry, only mercy when we fall. He knew his lips were not yet worthy, he knew the people were the same.
Then burning cold touched where he trembled, and guilt was taken from his name. Here am I, send me. I don't know where the road will lead. Here am I, send me. Take my voice and let it speak. If you call me, I will answer, even when the message isn't easy. Here am I, send me. He walked among a troubled nation. Kings were rising, kingdoms fell. He warned the proud and called the wandering back to where their hearts should dwell. There were words of coming judgment, there were tears for what would break. But even in the darkest warning, hope was awaiting to awake. He spoke about a child of promise, light that darkness could not hide. A kingdom built on peace and justice, with a faithful king inside. He saw a servant bruised and wounded, bearing sorrow not his own. Through suffering would come redemption, and the lost would journey home. Here am I, send me. I don't know where the road will lead. Here am I, send me. Take my voice and let it speak. If you call me, I will answer, even when the message isn't easy. Here am I, send me. Holy was the vision, heavy was the word. Still he kept on speaking what he had heard. Judgment in the distance, mercy drawing near. A voice within the darkness, still declaring hope was here. He spoke of roads through barren places, streams appearing in the sand, comfort coming for the broken, and a people coming home again. Empires rise and empires vanish, human glory fades away, but the word he carried through the years would never pass away. Here am I, send me. Through the fire, through the years. Here am I, send me. Through the warning, through the warning, through the tears, through the tears. Let my voice keep pointing forward to the hope beyond what we can see. Here am I, send me, send me. He saw the throne, he heard the call, he heard the call, he knew his weakness and gave it all. A cleansed heart, a willing life. Here am I, send me.
He was young when the calling found him, in a quiet town of priests. He said, I don't know how to speak yet, I'm too young for what you need. But the road was set before him, and the words were his to bear, to a nation turning farther from the God who still was there. Jeremiah walked through Judah with a warning in his voice. Turn around before the breaking, there is still another choice. But the people would not listen. Kings refused to change their ways. Still he stood before the nation, speaking truth through lonely days. Still I spoke when no one listened. Still I stood when they turned away. Through the laughter, through the anger, I carried every word you gave. Though my heart broke for my people, though my eyes were filled with tears, still I spoke, still I trusted you were with me through the years. They mocked the words he carried, they rejected what he said. A scroll was cut and burned to ashes, but the truth was not yet dead. He was beaten, he was taken, thrown into a muddy well. Still the prophet kept on speaking words he never chose himself. There were days he wished for silence, days he wanted to let go, but the message burned within him, and he could not leave it so. Still I spoke when no one listened. Still I stood when they turned away. Through the laughter, through the anger, I carried every word you gave. Though my heart broke for my people, though my eyes were filled with tears, still I spoke, still I trusted you were with me. Then the walls of old Jerusalem fell beneath a foreign hand. What he'd warned them would be coming now was happening in the land. Smoke was rising from the city, people carried far away, and the prophet who had warned them stayed to mourn another day. But sorrow wasn't all he carried, judgment wasn't all he'd known. Beyond the ruins he saw a future. God would bring his people home. After the breaking, after the tears, there would be mercy beyond all these years. He spoke of hearts made new again, of words no longer carved in stone, a promise written deep within them, a people brought back home. He had watched a nation crumble, he had wept for what was lost. Faithfulness had made him lonely, and obedience had a cost. He never saw the restoration that his hopeful words foretold. Still he planted hope among the ruins for another age to hold. Still I spoke when no one listened. Still I stood when hope seemed gone. Through the ruins, through the sorrow, I believed you would lead them on. Though my heart broke for my people, there was mercy past the tears. far away from everything he'd known. Jerusalem faded in the distance, and a foreign land became his home. They gave him language, gave him learning, even gave another name. But Daniel knew beneath it all, his heart did not have to change. At the table of the king, he made a quiet choice to stand. He would live within this foreign world, but not forget who he had been. No shouting, no rebellion, just a faith both calm and strong. And through the years in Babylon, that quiet choice would lead him on. Faith in Babylon, when everything has changed. Faith in Babylon, when home feels far away. Kings may rise and kingdoms fall, but God is still above them all. Faith in Babylon, I will not turn away. Then came a dream no one could answer, and a king who wanted truth. Daniel prayed with his companions for what only God could do. In the night the secret opened, what was hidden became clear. Daniel stood before the kingdom, but took no glory for himself. Years went by and kings were changing, still his wisdom carried through. Empires shifted all around him, but his faith remained true. Faith in Babylon, when everything has changed. Faith in Babylon, when home feels far away. Kings may rise and kingdoms fall, but God is still above them all. Faith in Babylon, I will not turn away. No prayer to anyone but the king, but Daniel opened up his window just as he had always done. Morning, noon, and evening he continued there to pray, not because he did not know the danger, but because he would not change. So they brought him to the lions and sealed the stone above the den. The king went home without his supper, wondering if he'd see his friend again. Through the night, among the lions, Daniel waited for the dawn. No sword within his hand, no way to run. Then morning broke, the stone was opened, and the king called out his name. Daniel answered from the darkness he was living. He was safe. He lived to see another kingdom, another ruler, another throne. Still the man who came there captive kept the faith he'd always known. He saw visions of the future, things far greater than his days. But through mysteries and kingdoms he remained a man who prayed. Faith in Babylon, when everything has changed. Faith in Babylon, when home feels far away. Kings may rise and kingdoms fall, but God is still above them all. Through every empire, through every age, the faithful heart can still remain. Faith in Babylon, I will not turn away. Far from Jerusalem, still he prayed. Under foreign kings, still he stayed. They changed his country, changed his name, but they could never take his faith away.
She was a child without her parents, raised beneath her cousin's care. A Jewish girl named Esther, living far from home out there. In the kingdom of Persia, a new queen would soon be crowned. She never dreamed the road before her would turn her whole world around. She entered through the palace doors and found favor with the king. A quiet girl from an exiled people now wore the royal ring. She kept her people and her story hidden deep within her heart, not yet knowing that her silence would one day have to fall apart. For such a time, maybe this is why you're here. For such a time, maybe courage starts with fear. When silence feels much safer, but someone has to speak. Perhaps the place you're standing is the place you're meant to be. For such a time, for such a time as this. Then Haman rose in power, and anger filled his pride. When Mordecai would not bow down, he planned a darker side. Not one man, but a whole people would be taken from the land. And when the news reached Esther, she knew she had to take a stand. Mordecai sent a warning: you cannot hide behind the crown. If you remain in silence, deliverance may still be found. But who can know if all these years and every road that led to this have brought you to the kingdom for a moment such as this? For such a time, maybe this is why you're here. For such a time, maybe courage starts with fear. When silence feels much safer, but someone has to speak. Perhaps the place you're standing is the place you're meant to be. For such a time, for such a time as this. She asked her people all to fast while she prepared to face the king. 3 days passed in waiting, not knowing what the dawn would bring. She dressed herself in royal clothing walked into the inner court. One step could mean her ending. Still she walked across that floor. The king looked up and saw her, and mercy met her there. The golden scepter reached toward her, and Esther breathed again. Courage doesn't mean you never feel afraid. Sometimes courage is the step you take while fear remains. She had a crown, but risked it all. She had a voice and chose to call. Not for herself, but for the lives of those who had no place to hide. She prepared a table and waited for the proper day. Then standing there before the king, she finally had her say. She named the plot, revealed her people, and exposed what Haman planned. The trap he'd built for someone else would turn upon the guilty man. What began as days of mourning turned to celebration bright. The people marked the day with gladness, for sorrow had been turned that night. For such a time she had been brought this far. Ooh, for such a time she stepped beyond her fear. When silence would have saved her, she chose instead to speak. And the place where she was standing became the place of victory. For such a time as this, an orphan girl, a foreign land, a hidden name, a trembling hand, a queen who found the courage to speak. And when her moment came, she stood. For such a time as this.
He lived inside a palace, far from Jerusalem. Then one day came the story, the walls were broken down again. The gates had burned to ashes, the city lay exposed, and Nehemiah sat in silence with a grief that no one knows. He wept and fasted, he bowed his head to pray. Before he ever touched a stone, he asked God for the way. He stood before the king with sorrow on his face. The king could see the burden he had tried so hard to hide. He asked to leave the palace and travel home once more, to build again the broken walls and raise the fallen doors. The king gave him permission and letters for the road. So Nehemiah left the comfort for the ruins he had known. Build again, and stone by stone, build again what has fallen down. When the walls are broken and the gates are gone, we can still begin. We can build again. Pray with your
walked the city and saw the damage for himself. No speeches and no crowds yet, just broken stones beneath the moon. Then morning came with courage, and people joined the work. Families stood beside each other, repairing every part. But voices rose against them, with laughter and with threats. Still Nehemiah kept them building. They had not finished yet. Some worked upon the wall, while others watched the road. A tool was in one hand and courage in the other. They heard the threats around them, they knew the danger near. But every stone they lifted was stronger than their fear. Day by day the gaps grew smaller, until the wall stood tall. What had been broken for so long was rising after all. Not every rebuilding begins with strength. Sometimes it starts with tears and prayer. Not every calling looks like glory. Sometimes it's dust and broken stairs. You see the ruins, you feel the weight, then choose one stone and start today. 52 days of labor, and the wall was standing strong. Their enemies could see it, this work was not their own. But Nehemiah knew the city needed more than walls outside. So the people gathered closely to hear the words that gave them life. The book was opened, the people listened. They wept and then rejoiced. The city had its walls again, and hearts were finding their voice. Build again, stone by stone. Build again what has fallen down. When the years have broken what you once had known, God can make a way to build again. Pray with your heart, work with your hands. Trust the God who still has plans. Build again, build again. First came the tears, then came the prayer, then came the courage to meet him there. A broken wall, a willing heart, and one by one the stones began again. She came to Moab as a young bride, never knowing what she'd lose. Years went by and sorrow found her, leaving her with roads to choose. Naomi turned toward Bethlehem with an empty heart to bear. Ruth could stay with all she'd known, but she chose to follow there. Where you go, I will go, down the road I cannot see, through the fields and through tomorrow. I'll keep walking faithfully. I don't know what waits before me, I don't need to know it when you could have walked away. Two women came to Bethlehem with little in their hands. No wealth, no home, no certainty, just strangers in the land. Ruth went out among the barley, gathering what others left. Day by day, behind the reapers, she worked with quiet faithfulness. And in a field she never planned for, someone noticed who she was. Boaz heard about her kindness and welcomed her with love. Where you go, I will go, down the road I cannot see, through the fields and through tomorrow, I'll keep walking faithfully. I don't know what waits before me, I don't need to know it all. Sometimes faith is simply staying when you could have walked away. He gave her shelter in the harvest, made a place where she could stay. He told his workers to protect her and leave a little in her way. Naomi saw a door was opening where they'd only known the night. The field that looked like simple kindness was slowly turning toward new life. She couldn't see the generations waiting somewhere down the line. She only knew the step before her and chose it one day at a time. From an empty road in Moab to the barley fields of home, grace was riding something greater than Ruth could ever know. Boaz took her as his wife, and joy returned where grief had been. Soon a child was in her arms, and Naomi smiled again. They called the little boy Obed, and years beyond that quiet day, his family line would lead to David. A king was coming from her faith. Where you go, I will go. Now I see what I could not see. Every field and every footstep held a hidden history. What looked like an ending was a road to something new. Grace was moving through the ordinary long before she ever knew. From Moab to Bethlehem, from sorrow to a home, she chose love, she chose to stay, and grace led all the way. mother prayed through years of tears. Hannah carried one small hope through all the waiting, all the years. Then one day her arms were filled with a child she'd prayed to see. And when the time had come, she brought him to the house where he would be. Samuel grew beside old Eli, learning quietly day by day. Then one night he heard a voice calling softly where he lay. He ran to Eli, thinking that the old man called his name. But after hearing it again, they knew from where the calling came. Here I am, I'm listening in the quiet of the night. Here I am, I'm listening. Teach my heart to know your voice. When you call me, I will listen, even when I don't yet understand. Here I am, I'm listening. Lead me where you will. The little boy became a prophet, and all Israel knew his name. Through troubled years he spoke with courage, calling hearts to turn again. He judged the people with compassion, prayed for them through fear and war. And when they asked to have a king, he carried every word before the Lord. Then Saul stood tall before the people, chosen first to wear the crown. Samuel poured the oil upon him and watched a kingdom gather round. But power changed the road before them. Saul would choose his will instead. Samuel grieved for what was broken, for the path the king had left. Sometimes calling means rejoicing. Sometimes calling carries tears. Sometimes serving means releasing what you've carried through the years. Still he listened, still he followed when the answer wasn't clear. The voice he'd heard when he was little was the voice that led him here. And God sent him toward Bethlehem, to a house he'd never known. One by one the sons stood before him, but none was chosen for the throne. Then someone called the youngest brother, a shepherd coming from the field. Samuel saw the boy before him and knew the future had been sealed. He poured the oil upon young David while his brothers gathered round. The and God led him.
He was the youngest in the family, watching sheep beneath the sky. No crown, no army, no one noticed, just a boy with watchful eyes. Then Samuel came to Jesse's house and passed the older brothers by. The shepherd came in from the fields and oil was poured beneath the light. Not long after came the giant, standing tall above the crowd. Soldiers trembled in their armor, while the shepherd spoke out loud. No heavy sword, no polished shield, just a sling and steady hands. One small stone flew through the morning, and the giant hit the land. A heart that comes back again and again, through victory and failure, through glory and sin. He ran, he fell, he lost his way, but every broken road could lead him back to grace. A heart that comes back when pride is gone, still looking for the God he had trusted all along. Saul grew jealous of the music, of the praise around David's name. So the shepherd became a fugitive, running through the dark again. He hid in caves and lonely places, with the crown still far away. And when he had the chance for vengeance, he chose to turn his hand away. Then the years of waiting ended. David finally wore the crown. Jerusalem became his city, and his kingdom gathered round. He danced before the ark with gladness. He sang of mercy, fear, and praise. The shepherd boy who once was hidden now is leading all the land. But kingdoms can fall like common people, and power can darken what we see. But one desire became deception, and deception turned to grief. He took what never had been given and tried to cover what he'd done, until the truth stood there before him, nowhere left for him to run. No crown could hide it, no throne could heal it, no song could make the wrong disappear. So he stopped defending, stopped pretending, and let repentance draw him near. A broken spirit, a humbled heart, was where the road began again. The years that followed carried sorrow, trouble moving through his home. A father grieving, kingdom shaking, even when he sat the throne. He knew the cost of what was broken. He knew that glory does not last. But through the joy and through the failure, he kept returning from the past. A heart that comes back again and again, through victory and failure, through glory and sin. He ran, he fell, he lost his way, but every broken road could lead him back to grace. A heart that comes back when pride is gone, still reaching for the God he had trusted all along. A shepherd, a warrior, a king with scars, a sinner, a singer beneath the stars. Not perfect, not fearless, not always strong, but a heart that came to God all alone. He was the son of David, born beneath a royal name. A kingdom waited for him, but he did not ask for fame. When he could choose his treasure, he asked for wisdom instead. Heart to judge with justice and lead the people well. Soon the stories traveled of wisdom on the throne. People crossed the nations to hear what he had known. He answered difficult questions. He listened and understood. And Israel grew in peace while the land beneath him stood. He had the wisdom, he had the gold, more than a lifetime could ever hold. He knew the answers, he knew the way, but knowing what is right doesn't make the heart obey. All of the wisdom, all of the fame could never keep a heart that slowly turned away. Wisdom wasn't enough, wisdom wasn't enough. He built a house for worship with cedar, stone, and gold. A temple rose in Jerusalem, more beautiful than words could hold. And when the work was finished, he bowed before the Lord. The king who had everything still knew whom he adored. Then came the years of plenty, silver shining everywhere, palaces and horses and treasures beyond compare. Kings and queens came seeking the wisdom of his mind, but somewhere in the abundance his heart began to divide. He loved what pulled him farther from the God he'd known before. Foreign gods and foreign altars slowly opened every door. The man who spoke with wisdom could see and still be blind. He knew so much about the truth, but let his heart fall behind. You can know and still wander. You can see and still lose sight. You can speak 1,000 answers and still choose what isn't right. A brilliant mind cannot protect a heart that will not stay. The wise
wisest man can lose himself when love is led astray. He had the wisdom, he had the gold, more than a lifetime could ever hold. He built the temple, he wore the crown, but everything he gathered could not keep his heart from falling down. All of the wisdom, all of the fame could never take the place of walking close to God each day. Wisdom wasn't enough, wisdom wasn't enough. A throne, a temple, 1,000 songs, a life that knew both right and wrong. He asked for wisdom, and wisdom came, but the heart still had to choose each day.
The land had waited for the rain. The fields were dry beneath the sun. Ahab wore the crown of Israel, while hearts forgot the Holy One. Elijah came without an army, with only words he had to say. The heavens closed above the nation, and the rain was held away. He hid beside a quiet brook, where ravens brought him daily bread. Then when the water disappeared, God sent him somewhere else instead. A widow had a little flour, a little oil almost gone. But through the days of empty cupboards, there was always just enough. And when her child stopped breathing, Elijah carried him above. He cried to God with all his heart, and life returned to the one she loved. Through the drought, through the waiting, through the days he stood alone, through the questions, through the silence, still he followed where God led. He had seen the heavens open, he had watched the fire fall, but the voice that found him broken was the quietest of all. Then came the day on Carmel, 2 altars underneath the sky. The prophets called from morning, but no answer came in sight. Elijah built the broken altar, and water covered every stone. Then fire fell before the people, and they knew who God alone was. Soon a cloud rose from the distance,
small against the open blue. Then the sky grew dark with mercy, and the long-awaited rain came through. But after fire came the fear. A threat was all it took. The man who stood before a nation ran as far as he could go. Beneath the lonely desert tree, he had nothing more to give. Yesterday he'd stood in triumph, today he barely wished to live. But heaven did not shame his weakness. An angel met him where he lay, with water, bread, and time to rest, before he walked another day. Then came the wind, but God was not there. Then the earth shook, but God was not there. Then came the fire, but still he waited. And after all the noise, a whisper, soft enough for a tired heart to hear. Elijah covered up his face and stepped outside the cave. The God who answered him with fire now met him in a quieter way. There was still a road before him, still a purpose, still a call. He wasn't quite as alone as he had believed at all. And later by a field he found Elisha working with the land. He placed his mantle on another, and the story changed its hands. Through the drought, through the waiting, through the days he stood alone, through the triumph, through the breaking, God had never let him go. He had seen the heavens open, he had watched the fire fall, but the voice that found him broken was the quietest of all. Not in the wind, not in the shaking, not in the fire that filled the sky. After the thunder, after the running, came a whisper, and he knew he wasn't alone.
In the year King had fallen, Isaiah saw a higher throne, the temple filled with holy glory, and suddenly he stood alone. He heard the voices all around him, calling holy through the air. The very doors began to tremble, and smoke was rising everywhere. Then Isaiah saw himself before the one who sees it all. No title left, no pride to carry, only mercy when we fall. He knew his lips were not yet worthy. He knew the people were the same. Then burning coal touched where he trembled, and guilt was taken from his name. Here am I, send me.
Call me, I will answer, even when He walked among a troubled nation. Kings were rising, kingdoms fell. He warned the proud and called the wandering back to where their hearts should dwell. There were words of coming judgment. There were tears for what would break. But even in the darkest warning, hope was waiting to awake. He spoke about a child of promise, like that darkness could not hide. A kingdom built on peace and justice, with a faithful king inside. He saw a servant bruised and wounded, bearing sorrow not his own. Through suffering would come redemption, and the lost would journey home. Here am I, send me. I don't know where the road will lead. Here am I, send me. Take my voice and let it speak. If you call me, I will answer, even when the message isn't easy. Here am I, send me. Holy was the vision, heavy was the word. Still he kept on speaking what he had heard. Judgment in the distance, mercy drawing near. A voice within the darkness still declaring hope was here. He spoke of roads through barren places, streams appearing in the sand, comfort coming for the broken, and a people coming home again. Empires rise and empires vanish, human glory fades away. But the word he carried through the years would never pass away. Here am I, send me. Through the fire, through the years. Here am I, send me. Through the warning, through the tears. Let my voice keep pointing forward to the hope beyond what we can see. Here am I, send me. He saw the throne, he heard the call. He knew his weakness and gave it all. A cleansed heart, a willing life. Here am I, send me. He was young when the calling found him, in a quiet town of priests. He said, I don't know how to speak yet. I'm too young for what you need. But the road was set before him, and the words were his to bear. To a nation turning farther from the God who still was there. Jeremiah walked through Judah with a warning in his voice. Turn around before the breaking. There is still another choice. But the people would not listen. Kings refused to change their ways. Still he stood before the nation, speaking truth through lonely days. they rejected what he said. A scroll was cut and burned to ashes, but the truth was not yet dead. He was beaten, he was taken, thrown into a muddy well. Still the prophet kept on speaking words he never chose himself. There were days he wished for silence, days he wanted to let go, but the message burned within him, and he could not leave it so. Still I spoke when no one listened. Still I stood when they turned away. Through the laughter, through the anger, I carried every word you gave. Though my heart broke for my people, though my eyes were filled with tears, still I spoke, still I trusted. You were with me through the years. Then the walls of old Jerusalem fell beneath a foreign hand. What he'd warned them would be coming now was happening in the land. Smoke was rising from the city, people carried far away, and the prophet who had warned them stayed to mourn another day. But sorrow wasn't all he carried, judgment wasn't all he'd known. Beyond the ruins he saw a future. God would bring his people home. After the breaking, after the tears, there would be mercy beyond all these years. He spoke of hearts made new again, of words no longer carved in stone, a promise written deep within them, a people brought back home. He had watched a nation crumble, he had wept for what was lost. Faithfulness had made him lonely, and obedience had a cost. He never saw the restoration that his hopeful words foretold. Still he planted hope among the ruins for another age to hold. Still I spoke when no one listened. Still I stood when hope seemed gone. Through the ruins, through the sorrow, I believed you would lead them on. Though my heart broke for my people, there was mercy past the tears. Still I spoke, still I spoke, still I trusted. You were faithful through the years. A lonely road, a weeping voice, a faithful word without applause. The city fell, but hope remained. Still I spoke, still I
He was young when Babylon took him, far away from everything he'd known. Jerusalem faded in the distance, and a foreign land became his home. They gave him language, gave him learning, even gave another name. But Daniel knew beneath it all his heart did not have to change. At the table of the king, he made a quiet choice to stand. He would live within this foreign world, but not forget who he had been. No shouting, no rebellion, just a faith both calm and strong. And through the years in Babylon, the quiet choice would lead him on. Faith in Babylon, when everything has changed. Faith in Babylon, when home feels far away. Kings may rise and kingdoms fall, but God is still above them all. Faith in Babylon, I will not turn away. Then came a dream no one could answer, and a king who wanted truth. Daniel prayed with his companions for what only God could do. In the night the secret opened, what was hidden became clear. Daniel stood before the kingdom, but took no glory for himself. Years went by and kings were changing, still his wisdom carried through. Empires shifted all around him, but his faith remained true. Faith in Babylon, when everything has changed. Faith in Babylon, when home feels far away. Kings may rise and kingdoms fall, but God is still above them all. Faith in Babylon, I will not turn away. Then another law was written, no prayer to anyone but the king. But Daniel opened up his window just as he had always done. Morning, noon, and evening he continued there to pray. Not because he did not know the danger, but because he would not change. So they brought him to the lions and sealed the stone above the den. The king went home without his supper, wondering if he'd see his friend again. Through the night, among the lions, Daniel waited for the dawn. No sword within his hand, no way to run. Then morning broke, the stone was open, and the king called out his name. Daniel answered from the darkness. He was living, he was safe. He lived to see another kingdom, another ruler, another throne. Still the man who came there captive kept the faith he'd always known. He saw visions of the future, things far greater than his days. But through mysteries and kingdoms, he remained a man who prayed. Faith in Babylon, when everything has changed. Faith in Babylon, when home feels far away. Kings may rise and kingdoms fall, but God is still above them all. Through every empire, through every age, the faithful heart can still remain. Faith in Babylon, I will not turn away. Far from Jerusalem, still he prayed. Under foreign kings, changed his name, but they could never take his faith away.
She was a child without her parents, raised beneath her cousin's care. A Jewish girl named Esther, living far from home out there. In the kingdom of Persia, a new queen would soon be crowned. She never dreamed the road before her would turn her whole world around. She entered through the palace doors and found favor with the king. A quiet girl from an exiled people now wore the royal ring. She kept her people and her story hidden deep within her heart, not yet knowing that her silence would one day have to fall apart. For such a time, maybe this is why you're here. For such a time, maybe courage starts with fear. When silence feels much safer, but someone has to speak. Perhaps the place you're standing is the place you're meant to be. For such a time, for such a time as this. Then Haman rose in power, and anger filled his pride. When Mordecai would not bow down, he planned a darker side. Not one man, but a whole people would be taken from the land. And when the news reached Esther, she knew she had to take a stand. Mordecai sent a warning: you cannot hide behind the crown. If you remain in silence, deliverance may still be found. But who can know if all these years and every road that led to this have brought you to the kingdom for a moment such as this? For such a time, maybe this is why you're here. For such a time, maybe courage starts with fear. When silence feels much safer, but someone has to speak. Perhaps the place you're standing is the place you're meant to be. For such a time, for such a time as this. She asked her people all too fast while she prepared to face the king. 3 days passed in waiting, not knowing what the dawn would bring. She dressed herself in royal clothing and walked into the inner court. One step could mean her ending. Still she walked across that floor. The king looked up and saw her, and mercy met her there. The golden scepter reached toward her, and Esther breathed again. Courage doesn't mean you never feel afraid. Sometimes courage is the step you take while fear remains. She had a crown but risked it all. She had a voice and chose to call, not for herself but for the lives of those who had no place to hide. She prepared a table and waited for the proper day. And standing there before the king, she finally had her say. She named the plot, revealed her people, and exposed what Haman planned. The trap he built for someone else would turn upon the guilty man. What began as days of mourning turned to celebration bright. The people marked the day with gladness, for sorrow had been turned that night. For such a time she had been brought this far. For such a time she stepped beyond her fear. When silence would have saved her, she chose instead to speak. And the place where she was standing became the place of victory. For such a time, for such a time as this. An orphan girl, a foreign land, a hidden name, a trembling hand, a queen who found the courage to speak. And when her moment came, she stood for such a time as this.
He lived inside a palace far from Jerusalem. Then one day came the story, the walls were broken down again. The gates had burned to ashes, the city lay exposed, and Nehemiah sat in silence with a grief that no one knows. He wept and fasted, he bowed his head to pray. Before he ever touched a stone, he asked God for the way. He stood before the king with sorrow on his face. The king could see the burden he had tried so hard to hide. He asked to leave the palace and travel home once more, to build again the broken walls and raise the fallen doors. The king gave him permission and led us for the road. So Nehemiah left the comfort for the ruins he had known. Build again, stone by stone. Build again what has fallen down. When the walls are broken and the gates are gone, we can still begin. We can build again. Pray with your heart, work with your hands. Trust the God who still has plans. Build again. At night he walked the city and saw the damage for himself. No speeches and no crowds yet, just broken stones beneath the moon. Then morning came with courage, and people joined the work. Families stood beside each other, repairing every part. But voices rose against them, with laughter and with threats. Still Nehemiah kept them building. They had not finished yet. Some worked upon the wall, while others watched the road. A tool was in one hand, and courage in the other. They heard the threats around them, they knew the danger near. But every stone they lifted was stronger than their fear. Day by day the gaps grew smaller, until the walls stood tall. What had been broken for so long was rising after all. Not every rebuilding begins with strength. Sometimes it starts with tears and prayer. Not every calling looks like glory. Sometimes it's dust and broken stairs. You see the ruins, you feel the weight, then choose one stone and start today. 52 days of labor, and the wall was standing strong. Their enemies could see it. This work was not their own, but Nehemiah knew the city needed more than walls outside. So the people gathered closely to hear the words that gave them life. The book was open, the people listened, they wept and then rejoiced. The city had its walls again, and hearts were finding their voice. Build again, stone by stone. Build again what has fallen down. When the years have broken what you once had known, God can make a way to build again. Pray with your heart, work with your hands. Trust the God who still has plans. Build again. Build again. First came the tears, then came the prayer, then came the courage to meet him there. A broken wall, a willing heart, and one by one the stones began